In May 2016, Dr. Kizza Besigye took oath in a mock swearing ceremony in an undisclosed location, which later caused him to face treason charges.
Order.
Now, after 3 years, on Thursday, Dr. Kizza Besigye unveiled his People's Government Cabinet and members of the People's Assembly to end Museveni's 33-year rule.
As a house.
In Besigye's People's Government and People's Assembly, it's clear that a number of opposition figures, especially those who are not in bed with FDC, were not appointed. Political analysts believe that this will create more divisions in the opposition.
It is not true. We look at it, we treat it with suspicion. Number one, what are they going to do with those other players that we are not included in the so-called cabinet? They are not going to be with them. They are not going to stand with them. Yet at this time, we need to put up, the opposition needs to put up all its efforts if they are to put up sustainability when the general election happens to occur. But when Dr. Besigye comes up with a minority criticism, this is fostering and fostering criticism within the opposition. It is not going to help.
The analysts also believe the move was misguided and it will not serve its intended purpose, which Erias Lukwago, the appointed deputy president in the People's Government, refutes.
I don't think that this one is going to change anything. I think the essence of it was that over the period of a few months that has been the political space in Uganda, I think Bobi Wine, Robert Kyagulanyi, has been a much more powerful force that everybody has been reckoning with. But that they have formed this at this particular point of time, it tells you that the relevance of the political future of Uganda, of the opposition, it has not been couched very well. You'd rather invest in having more MPs in parliament. You'd rather invest in having more LC5s in the various districts in the country, instead of forming a government which is not going to do anything.
You will be belittling others to say that when Dr. Kizza Besigye and FDC announces People's Cabinet that they are going to be diverted. Are they that simple? Why should they not be diverted when NRM goes to Chove to begin emasculating the national constitution? That every time FDC does something that the whole of the opposition gets diverted, that is being too simplistic.
We are not claiming that this is the government in Nakasero right now, in a state house and no, but we are saying this is the people's government. The people's government, the government which has got the will of the people. A legitimate government that was chosen by the people of Uganda, but it denied the instruments of power. So it's a government which is disenfranchised. A government of the people who are oppressed, or put it differently, a government for the oppressed people, a government for the disenfranchised, a government for the persecuted, a government for the people who are voiceless.
The People's Assembly comprises elected and prospective members of parliament drawn from across all political organizations. According to the organizers, the main intention of the People's Assembly is to bring regime change as well as restore power back to the people.
Because we believe that our country is already divided into two parts. Those who grabbed the power and those whose power they grabbed.
You will be belittling others to say that when Dr. Kizza Besigye and FDC announces People's Cabinet that they are going to be diverted. Are they that simple? Why should they not be diverted when NRM goes to Chove to begin emasculating the national constitution? That every time FDC does something that the whole of the opposition gets diverted, that is being too simplistic.
Ofono Pondo argues that the move is a scheme to drive Besigye's agenda to run in 2021 elections, which the FDC spokesperson Ibrahim Samjunganda described as baseless and untrue.
Besigye, for sure, with his faction, Besigye is going to be the presidential candidate for FDC come 2021. Therefore, this measure was about rebranding Besigye so that nobody occupies the position of the leading opposition candidate.
By FDC announcing the next activity, another people get diverted. How can I say sorry about that? Do people want FDC to be in the bedroom with its blanket on the head? That we have now announced something and then people are going to divert. I don't accept. But there are people who think the FDC and that has been their thinking. In 2016, before election, they said FDC had collapsed. They went with go forward. I don't know where it went. So for us, we will remain focused on this battle because our aim is to ensure Uganda gets a good government that is accountable.
Ofon also says Besigye is trying to make himself relevant to the current political environment.
I think Besigye is simply trying to be relevant. I don't think it's going to go any far.
Because we are not going to sit back and resign to fate, throw our hands in the air and say now it's game over. Mr. Museveni should entrench a life presidency. Is that what you are suggesting? You're saying no. It's a continuous struggle.
The continued fights and divisions among different opposition groups with only 2 years to the 2021 elections could be viewed as the early indicator that the opposition is not doing enough to resolve internal disputes. Ivan Chimuchigozi, NTV.